Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel and blog. I'm Jenny Hall. Thanks for joining me for another card making tutorial. Today I'm creating a watercolor look flower with Painted Harvest stamp set and the leaf punch. Painted Harvest is a multi-step stamp set, and it takes more than one stamp to get the petals in the flower. So I'm using this fact to my advantage and going to put down different layers of color. Add to that each layer is going to have more than one color, and it makes it a bit more of a fun and interesting technique. The one thing that I can advise you is that if you plan to use multiple colors, please be sure the colors will work together once they are spritzed with water. When water ink or dye-based ink is mixed with water, then it's going to blend and run. And that's a wonderful thing because we get some beautiful blended colors. However, if you were to use red with green, you should expect to get brown. I'm just letting you know, and you know how I've already found this out, don't you all? By example. So if you don't want to have brown flowers, then don't use red and green. So number one flower is already in action, and now we are moving on to number two, and I'm taking my lightest color first and using a sponge dauber, adding a burst of color to the middle of the petals, and then on the second layer adding an even more intense color. And once this is spritzed with water, then all of these colors kind of blaze together. It's yellows and purples with a little bit of orange. So this color combination is quite stunning, and it works together very well. Each one of the flowers is a little bit different from the other, but it definitely carries that loose watercolor look. For the center of the flowers, I'm using only one color of brown, yet I am spritzing it also with water so that the colors will bleed and blend together. Using a paper towel is a wonderful way to contain where your color is going to put contact to the paper. Helping it along to dry with your heat gun set on the low setting will help your project move along quickly. The last step in making the flowers is the tiny little dots that go on the center of the flower, and those are not going to be spritzed. I'm just putting them directly onto the watercolor paper. This panel is going to be cut down to the size to only hold the flowers and enough room for this sentiment. It's a more large sentiment than is typical for me to use on this particular size of card, and I'm using it all in a different way for this project. So what I mean to say is I've taken a lot of watercolor paper here and cut it way down, and instead of having a lot of white space, which I really do adore having white space in my projects, this project is not going to have a lot of that. The leaves in the stamp set are also multi-step stamping. So taking the base layer of leaf in my brightest color, which is Lemon Lime Twist, I'm using a piece of the leftover watercolor paper. Wild Wasabi Green is great to go over that first layer and give definition to the leaves. These also carry that watercolor look without having to spritz it, because I want more definition to the side of the card that's going to contain the leaves. Here is the sentiment that I mentioned, and it is definitely taking up more space in the design, which I think is great because it's a beautifully drawn sentiment, and it's nice to be able to get your message out on the front of the card. To sit beside the watercolor panel, I have a piece of foil paper. This is the copper foil, and I'm making sure that I adhere it with fast fuse because foil paper is quite thick, and watercolor paper is also quite thick. So to make them really want to stay together, fast fuse is the best one of the adhesives for me. The leaves have all been punched out with the leaf punch, and as you can see, they are not complete leaves, but that's quite all right. It also adds to the artsy feel of the card, and because this is all being adhered down to a piece of patterned paper that is also really busy, I wanted to make sure that the leaves were a complete color contrast from the patterned paper. This all works together very well, although the individual elements are really very busy, if for lack of a better word. For the inside of the card, I wanted to continue to bring the busyness of the colors and the frenzy. This card reminds me of frenzy for some reason. But I adhered an entire panel of designer series paper that matches this suite of products. There is a lightness to the paper that will still be able to write a greeting and not interfere with how it comes out. Thanks for joining me for another card tutorial. All of the measurements and product links are listed down below the video in the video description. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video. Thanks again for joining me. I'll see you in the next video.
Hi, my name is Trip. Thanks for watching the video. See you next time.